Next up on our list is a luxury motor vehicle manufacturer, and that's BMW, also known by its longer name, which is Bayerische Motoren Werke AG. German, of course, manufactures automobiles, motorcycles, financial division, again, as usual. Its brands, of course, are BMW, but don't forget it also owns Mini and Rolls-Royce. I'm sure they ship a few of those out to China. It's manufacturing all of this stuff throughout the world as usual. Market capitalization of this big boy is $68.49 billion. You'd have to look at its value in euros, listed as it is in Frankfurt, just one of the core members of the German DAX. It's trading also on a similar, rather low price-to-earnings ratio. I think we're picking up a theme here, 9.23, dividend yield 3%. So it's had done very well. The share price chart will probably come up in a minute, but in the last while it sort of fell off, and I think it was because their growth in sales was a little bit tepid. People expected them to do a little bit worse, a little bit better rather, and they did a little worse. So what's going on exactly here? We know that they're a world leader. People love the 3 Series, the 5 Series, the 7 Series, and now these electric i3s, i8s, and so on. Did you get the sense, perhaps like others, that it had slightly underperformed in recent times?
Yeah, I mean, the numbers, again, they haven't been bad, but I think it could be, just negative sentiment, especially around Europe in general. I mean, if you look at what's happening on the DAX as well, obviously we've got the Greek bailout now, but I think, it's macroeconomic factors playing into a company of this size. I think, but if you look at those macro factors, we've also seen a contraction in the oil price, so I think that's, that's going to, fuel the demand for cars, and I think it's got a little bit more money in the consumer's pocket. Maybe they'll actually upgrade and go and buy one of those luxury cars. Obviously, again,
there's the chart I was looking for. So you can see like it pops up to 120 plus and then gets a little bit of a tumble. But what you're saying is that trend was somewhat similar across the board in the German market, and that maybe it's going to be picking up now.
I think looking at that chart, that for me looks like a decent entry into the company, and I think it'll do well. I mean, if you are looking around in fairly expensive markets today, to find something like BMW, which will be, like I said, celebrating 100 years, of production next year, I think that's it's not a bad one to look at. I mean, 10 PE. I think if you're hunting for value, that's definitely one of them.
Okay, and what about the market positioning? Because is it a plus in motor vehicles, would you say, to be in the premium luxury end of the game rather than the sort of mainstream sort of mid-market, as it is with many other consumer sectors?
Yeah, it's obviously, it's very difficult. I mean, the way that the motor industry obviously operates, I mean, you need to come to the market with a leading product. If you come with a leading product, you can maintain those larger margins, which BMW manages to do perhaps over something like Toyota. Because you're maintaining larger margins, you can continue to spend capex. Because you're spending capex, you can continue to produce better vehicles. And that cycle almost becomes self-perpetuating. If you can't do that, I mean, obviously, suddenly your margins are getting contracted. You can't spend as much on R&D, and your product gets worse, and the cycle, it pulls you back, so it spirals down. So for me, I think the luxury segment where you've got the slightly higher margins is the segment that you want to play, and that's why I would take this one over.
And that's
Toyota.
Why it's encouraging to see them innovating with the electric vehicles and so on, because there's a certain part of the market that's going there.
No, definitely, and looking at the i3, i5, i8. I mean, I know that I was chatting to one of the guys who brought the i8 out to South Africa, and he was like, "This is just the worst time to try and launch this product in our country." Obviously, with our electricity problems. I mean, the one thing that we now have is cheaper petrol and more expensive electricity.
Well, that's another point worth making, is that the transition to electrical is a little bit determined by people's perceptions around fuel prices. Okay, but before we get distracted, as far as BMW is concerned, it's a mainstream German stock. The Quant family still has like a 40% stake in it, which gives it stability on the board. Overall, are you going to call it hot? You said you like the look of the share chart.
I think
nice time to head into something that's European based, with the euro, the recovering sentiment with regard to Europe. Hopefully, we're never going to hear about those damn Greeks again for at least 6 years.
Definitely, I think a fantastic company in Europe, and one that you can enter now. I'm going hot.
Okay, we're going hot on this.